Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Now every Thursday we talk hiking, backpacking, camping, and travel. If you love those things like I do, then please consider subscribing to the channel. You might ask, what's the difference between hiking and backpacking? Now if you're new and just getting started, you might wonder which social media groups to follow, where you'll find people doing the things that you're most interested in. Let's talk more about what is the difference between backpacking versus hiking. Now, I've been a solo hiker for a long time. Hiking's described as a long walk in the woods, while backpacking is taking enough gear on a hike to stay overnight. So you might say, hey, when I go on a hike, I wear a backpack. So am I a backpacker? You might say, when I go backpacking, I do hiking. So really, what is the difference? Truth is, it's not a lot of vital difference, but you'll find that some of the social media groups especially gear towards one over the other. So typically, I've got 4 backpacks. 2 that I use for day hikes. That's where you return home at the end of the day. And 2 that I use for backpacking, and those are used for trips of 1 night or more overnight outside. Now, you might go for backpacking for long extended periods over great distances, and coincidentally, that's called a through hike, even though you're backpacking. So day hikers actually carry backpacks, and when I go day hiking, I take 2 different kinds. So this one here is a 10 liter. It's big enough to carry water and a coat and maybe some a snack. So it's really good for short trips. I'll take this one trail running because it's nice and light, and it works really well for me. That's the Salomon 10 liter Trailblazer. But for longer backpacking trips, or if I've got kids with me or the dog, I'll bring my bigger pack. And I'm partial to Gregory, but you don't have to be brand specific. This is an 18 liter Gregory pack. It's got a belt and some pouches, and it's compliant if I want to carry a bladder with me. And it's great for a day hike. I can pack just about everything I need in this pack. But this is not a backpacking pack. You're not going to put a shelter and multi-days food in there. So what I've done traditionally, all my hikes I've taken out when I go backpacking, I'm going for several nights, and I'm bringing my Gregory Baltoro 65 liter pack. Now this thing holds a lot of gear, holds a ton of gear. I can go out for a week in this thing with enough food and water that I don't get stuck. And it's a really good backpack. I've done a review on this, and I'll leave a link here if you guys are interested in this pack. But this is definitely a backpacking pack. But I found that for overnight trips, you know, when I'm a bit of a weekend warrior, this isn't my full-time gig, by the way. So when I want to go out just on the weekend for Saturday night, I need a smaller pack. That pack's just a little too big. 65 liters, I'm carrying a heavier pack than I need. So this summer, I'm going to be testing out my new Gregory pack. This is the Stout. It's a 45 liter. I think it's going to hold all my gear. My base weight's usually in around 32 pounds, so not quite ultra light, but I like to pack a few luxuries with me, but I'll usually leave those for an overnight trip because it's just not worth carrying the extra weight. So this will get me comfortably into my 32 pound base weight into a 45 liter pack. Still lots of room, and I'm not limited in what I bring, but I'm not carrying a heavier pack than I need. It's going to allow me to shave probably about 1.5 pounds off my base weight. So those are all things to consider. I mean, when you're picking out a pack for a backpacking trip or even a day hike, you're going to want to consider trail difficulty ratings. Is it an advanced or a intermediate or a beginner trail? Those are all things you're going to want to research in advance. You're going to want to look at the distance you're traveling. Can I get there and back in 1 day? So someone's day hike of 30 kilometers or 20 miles might be someone else's backpacking trip where they break that down into 15 kilometers per day. The next thing you'll want to think about is camping gear. Are you staying overnight? How big's your gear? How heavy's your gear? That's going to determine what kind of pack you bring. So you may be yearning for an epic adventure, in which case you consider getting into backpacking. Look at your gear. Imagine getting way out in the middle of nowhere, eating dehydrated food, and sleeping on the ground when you're totally exhausted. Now, if that's the kind of thing that excites you, then start preparing for an awesome backpacking trip. If these things sound horrible or you're not into camping, find yourself a great hiking trail, get yourself a small day pack, and go explore. So that's kind of it for this week, guys. I hope shed a little bit of interest on whether you want to be a backpacker or a hiker. Why don't you guys leave your questions in the comments down below or chat with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm there too. I really look forward to hearing from y'all. Till next week, I'll see you guys on the trail. It's Papa Steve on the move.